just testing if you can hear my dryer in the background. Can you hear it? Well, let's find out. Let me see. Hi, so it's been a minute. Lots of things have changed. Good things. I also filmed like 3 separate videos before this and then just never uploaded them because I feel like they were all kind of cringy. I want to kind of talk to you guys about my book writing process right now. If you're new here, my name is Britt. Hi. I'm an aspiring author writing my first novel ever. It's a sci-fi, biopunk, fantasy with a romance subplot. I'll get into that a little bit more later in the video, but I was struggling with this book. I've written like somewhat of a Save the Cat outline. I tried different plotting methods. I have Obsidian that I use and it helps a lot. Pinterest boards, playlists, all this kinds of stuff. And I just found that it was really difficult for me to start the book in a way that I liked. I wrote several chapters, but then I kind of felt every time I was sitting down to write that I didn't exactly know where to go with it. Like I knew what I wanted to, like, I had a vague idea, I don't know. I knew what the themes I wanted to express were. I know where I wanted the book to head, but just getting there without like, I mean, I wrote detailed like chapter descriptions, but the problem is that as I was actively writing, there's like this element of like discovery writing or discovery when you're writing a scene, and I would feel dissatisfied with where I was going, like line by line level, because I was realizing like, whoa, what if I need to talk about this later? Or what if there's, what if this leads to, it got really disheartening for me. I mean, the writing was fine. I'm sure I could have written the whole book that way, but it was making me feel overwhelmed it made me feel overwhelmed. And then when I sit down to write, I wouldn't feel happy about it. I'd feel stressed, if anything, really. Oh, I didn't turn on my light. Let me do that. Ow. Watch that, Mateo. There we go. Anyway, I would feel really like overwhelmed, a little stressed because I wasn't feeling it. Anyways, oh yeah, I cut off some of my hair. It was dead. Anyways, the other day I was on TikTok and just scrolling like we do, and I came across this creator who was talking about the domino plotting, and I'm like, I don't want to try another plot thing, and I've heard of this method, but I decided to give it a go, honestly, because I came home and my wife had my whole little area set up for me to write, and I wasn't expecting to write, and it was just so cute. And then I was like, what the heck, let's try it. And oh my God, I can't believe how that method helped me. So the domino method is you first write like a brief like snapshot of where your characters are starting out from, who they are, what they are doing, what they want, basic like chapter 1 through 3 type like information, just a little blurb for each of them. I mean, there are other ways, there's a variety of ways to do this. This is how I did it. I wrote like a blurb for my main characters, and so I had a good idea, foundation of where they're starting from in like the first couple of chapters, and then I stopped everything, went to the very end of the book and wrote out the ending in its entirety. And to be honest, I always had like a vague idea of the ending, but I never had tangible scenes or moments, like answers. Like I knew I would get there, it would be cool, but like I hadn't thought of like the nitty-gritty details of how it was gonna end and how I wanted everything to really wrap up. It's my matcha. But then when I went to the end and just really sat with it for a while last night, I ended up writing something that kind of shocked myself. And I had to do a little bit of like soundboarding with my wife, just for a couple of things, because it's such the scope of this book is just large. Like the world is large, and there's two different main antagonists, and I wanted to be able, and they are in two geographically different locations. So I was wondering and trying to figure out how they could have not two climaxes, but how to work out them defeating both of those. And whether they were doing that together, who dies, all this other stuff. And I sat there and I wrote it. Took me about 30 minutes really, with the soundboarding to really nail down what I wanted to have at the end. And then what I did, why did I do that? I looked at Save the Cat, like the bullet points, like the beats, I'm sorry. I looked at the beats and I basically made little bullets, and I put each beat starting from the end, moving backwards to the beginning. And I also layered in my romancing the beats, because there are two romances in this book, one major one and one minor one, secondary one. And I also layered those in where they're supposed to go. Obviously this could all change, so nothing is set in stone, but because they're staggered, and they don't use all of the romance of the beats, because I'm not a huge fan of like the third act breakup, and then they're just not slow burn. I like slow burn a lot, so I just kind of skipped the getting together, then having like, oh no, doubts, like, and then no, that doesn't work for me. But I do use some of those beats, and then it made sense, because scene by scene, you would think when you start a scene, you make things happen, feelings, plot, all of that, internal struggles, and when the scene is done completing what it's completing, you always want to think, and so this happened, this situation is how it is, and so this next scene happens as a direct correlation or response, cause and effect from the previous scene. And doing that backwards from the ending through those beats just clicked for me. Writing from chapter 1 without any real concrete idea of the ending was debilitating for me. And I was just suffering in doubt and just confusion, because I would write something awesome and then I would second guess myself. Is it awesome? Because I actually don't know how it's going to end, so this might even be here. So working backwards, the ending is here, and to get here, what was right before this scene that made them get here? Boom. What's right before this scene? What caused this? It tickles my brain in a way that just sparked my creativity and made everything so simple and linear in the ways that I've been searching for this type of thing to happen. That sentence made no sense. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. Also, part of the reason I was overwhelmed with everything previously is that I have tried so many plotting styles, and I've even tried discovery writing. Over time, things change, so each one is a little different than the other, until I got this whole like miasma of just for everything. Like there were different versions of each of my characters that were tweaked slightly here and there, and then different versions of the plot that were tweaked, and then it just got lost in the sauce. That's not the right analogy for that. I just got lost in it. And so when I go sit down and try to write, getting into the character's head was a little difficult, because wait, what version am I using? So I condensed everything, literally deleted most of my plotting structure stuff after reviewing them and just taking the pieces that I wanted. So now I have one document, one plotting structure, and each of my characters has one character sheet. And then I have, world building and stuff on the side that never changed really. It expanded, I added things, but I never really took anything out, because I kind of had that nailed in my mind from the beginning. So yeah, Now I feel so much better. I feel like I can whip this thing out pretty quickly, assuming I have time. I will try to write every day, either way. And some days I could write like thousands of words, and other days I'm lucky to get 200, and that's okay. So yeah, let's do some writing, I guess. Jump scare, editing Brit here. I realized after filming this video that I never explained that we moved back to our condo. You can't see most of it. We had it on the market. We got a bunch of offers, but none of them are what we were looking for, and we really didn't need to sell if we didn't want to. So we moved back. Yeah, so we're back. And we're happy about it, so don't worry about it. But yeah, that's why the location has changed and why it was different from the first time. You actually probably hadn't seen it much before we moved, because I only did like one video, one and a half, two video. I did 2 videos here in this condo, and then we moved and did 1 video at the house that we lived at, and then now we're back here, so. Let's get on to the video though. Thanks for watching. I want to write about 100,000 words in 90 days, but yeah, that's what I want to do. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Let's see, if there's 12 weeks, I'd probably do a video every 2 weeks, maybe every week, to update you, but this is the next day already. And yesterday I said that I wanted to do a 90-day challenge and explained it all, and it was gonna start yesterday. Well, funny thing, right after I recorded that clip, another AuthorTube writer, he goes by the name Cody the Writer, he dropped a video talking about doing basically the same thing for Q4 of 2025. So starting October 1st through December 31st and having that be the 90 days. And they're doing like a track bear thing. If you haven't heard of track bears, where you can, like, a bunch of other people can like sign up and watch each other's progress throughout challenges like this, and a Discord and all of that. And that just literally just fell in my lap. And it was perfect. So I'm gonna do that. And so what that means for me is that I'm going to continue with my my outlining again, and also trying to decide if I'm gonna keep some of the stuff that I wrote already, and where that fits in the new outline, and basically prep for this next 3 weeks. So we have the rest of the month, so 3 more weeks until that challenge starts. So I think that's perfect. That's perfect amount of time for me to go back through and really solidify the plot structure and everything else that I want to do. A weird pivot. I am having some struggles. When I think about my novel, I'm super happy. I love the entire thing, but I'm starting to get worried that it might be too big for one book, especially because there's 2 antagonists on 2 different fronts. Although I know that can be done well. So I am getting a little bit worried. I mean, the 0 draft is 0 draft. I mean, I could find out when I finish writing it if it's too big. Especially if I hit the 90 days and 100,000 words and I haven't finished the book, that would be a very clear indicator that it's too big for one book. I want it to be one book because it's really hard to query a series or a duology. It seems like a duology to me, to be honest. It's hard to query a duology when you've never published a book before. Everyone tells you not to do it. It needs to be a standalone with series potential or whatever, but yay, I don't know. And if I had to pick one of the antagonists over the other, I don't know. I think maybe it would be one of those, like, maybe it might just be a really long book like Priory of the Orange Tree. I know that's not normal too. You don't want to, like, a lot of people don't, or editors or agents don't want to pick up a book that's like outside of the limits of like the genre expectations. So let's just see how condensed I can write this thing, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna get to writing again today. Just working on my plotting, my outline, and yeah, figuring out how I'm gonna fit everything in. By the way, I did not sleep well last night at all. I don't know what was going on. My allergies went nuts. I was like coughing and whatever, and I could not sleep. So I'm a little bit slower today, this morning. Another thing, I'm gonna just keep pivoting. There's so many things that have been working in my head the last 3 days since Friday. Yeah. I have a fear that I have too many POVs. Now I know that some books need multiple POVs. Mine in particular, I feel needs them. I know it's something that a lot of new writers do because they feel like they need it more so than the story or the reader needs it. And I'm afraid of being in that category. But as I've been thinking about it and as I plot the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna really try to hone in and see if these extra points of view, there's 3 total, if the extra points of view really are necessary. I have an inkling that they are because of a lot of reasons, actually. You know, I'm gonna keep my mind open because unless they are absolutely necessary, I think I'm gonna have to try to cut them because, I mean, realistically, by the end of the book, there will even be a 4th POV. That one is non-negotiable though. That one has to happen. I have thought about that since the beginning of this entire thing. So it's either having 2 POVs with the extra 3rd at the end or having 3 POVs with the extra 4th at the end. I know, it's a lot. But I honestly don't see how I can tell the full story without having at least one person in each of these situations because they are very complex situations, and I don't think it's reasonable to have one character work through and see and understand everything that's going on with the other situations at all. Like, but there's a chance, you know, there's a chance. Maybe I am just too in love with the story and I feel like it needs to be told in its entirety like this. Maybe I'll just do 2 POVs and then release a novella later with some exclusive chapters about that POV that was cut. I don't know. I'm gonna just sit down and do a couple of writing sprints. They're not really sprints. I'm not going for word count here. I'm going for plot, like beats for my plotting, and see how much I can get done doing that reverse plotting method still. Sorry, I'm distracted today. Anyway, so yeah, let's light a candle. Also, I got this candle at Barnes & Noble, and I never buy candles from there because they're expensive, but I literally couldn't help myself with this one. It's called Plot Twist. It's the number 2. This might be reversed. I'll reverse it in post, but it smells like sea minerals and water lily. And at first I was like, oh, that's not gonna, whatever. Holy guacamole. It's so good. I had to buy, oh my God. It was $26, that stupid thing. I had a gift card that I got from my job. So I didn't actually pay for this, but like, is it gonna focus? $28. Well, I mean, you can always just go in there and sniff it. whenever you feel like you want to stop it. Anyway, I'm gonna light this puppy and get going. Anyway, let's start drafting.